Right, so once you're absolutely certain about the benefits that you sell, the next step is to actually say, what is the value that those benefits actually offer to my customer? In other words, what's in it for them? I'm sure you've heard the phrase WIIFM, WIIFM, what's in it for me? Unless you can sit and be absolutely clear with your customer about the value that your product brings to them, they're not interested. People haven't got time to sit and listen to you tell them about your product. People want to hear, how's it going to solve a challenge that I have? How's it going to help me to reduce costs? How's it going to help me? You fill in the blank. So you've got to sit and you've got to know, what does my product do? And then what value does it bring to my customer? In other words, what problem does it solve? How does it support them? How does it help them? How does it actually add value to them? Because unless I know that, how am I going to communicate that in a crystal clear way to my client or to my prospect so that they understand it as well? So you need to be crystal clear in your head about exactly what you do. In other words, what value you bring to the party. And once you're clear on the value that you bring to the party, you got to ask yourself another question. Is it something I would buy with confidence? In other words, is the value that I bring really what the customer wants? Because once I know that what the value the customer requires is, isn't it then easy for me to look around the marketplace and to find people who need that exact value? Because when you qualify your prospects, it just becomes so much easier to sell to them. Because when you're trying to sell something to somebody they don't need, the task becomes almost impossible. But when you're selling something to somebody and it is completely aligned with exactly what they're looking for, it becomes very simple. Because then you're talking into their value system. In other words, they value exactly what you sell. And as soon as you get that understanding, that clarity in your own mind, and you've identified the right people who need exactly that value, at that point, you've closed the sale. Because your value proposition is completely aligned with their value expectation. So when does closing the sale actually start? And I keep saying this, closing the sale starts long before you're sitting in front of the customer, long before you're sitting in front of the prospect. Closing the sale starts the moment you understand what you sell. Secondly, when you identify exactly the right person who needs what you have to sell. And as soon as you can marry those two together, you've closed the sale. So stop being too concerned about those clever closing techniques. Yes, of course, we're going to cover techniques to help people to want to close the sale. In other words, to help people to see the value that you really bring. But I'm not going to teach you clever techniques to manipulate your customer. You just need to understand what you sell. You need to have a plan to communicate that clearly to the customer's value needs. And as soon as you do that, closing the sale is simply a case of showing what I have is what you need.